What is up, Need for Speed Racers? It is I, your wheelman, Alex Cornnut, and we're here with Ferrari Week, Day 2. My buddy Ari brought me this car the other day. He said, hey man, I love this car. It's awesome in S-Class. He was beating me in this car. I was like, dude, this thing is awesome. But it just doesn't quite have the legs. It's a corner king, slays it in the cities, do good on circuit tracks, but man, it just doesn't carry enough top speed for S-Class. And we've kind of set the standard that if you're not doing 200 mile an hour, you're really not keeping up with the pack. So you need something that's got the acceleration with that 200 mile per hour top speed to match. And so I hit the drawing board with the car, changed the motor 4 different times, tried a bunch of different builds. I actually made a build that was the exact same as one of the other creators in this space. And I was like, well, that won't work. I'm not going to just copy their build and do my own. So I made a few more tweaks, found some more speed. I really like what I've created. We're going to call it the secret car because it's Ferrari week. I didn't want anybody to steal my build of my secret Ferrari. So, with no further ado, all the hype around this thing, we got to let it out of the bag. So I bring you the 2006 Subaru WRX STI Ferrari Edition. In all seriousness, I couldn't wait a week to get this car out. I needed to get it out to you guys ASAP. I built it last night on stream, and I really, really like it. I've been playing with it all morning, finalizing all the tweaks, and it's really, really good, you guys. It slays in S-Class. I think this is probably my second favorite car to drive in S-Class. The first one being the 71 Skyline. This one's easier to drive. It corners really well. Overall, it's awesome. Mind you, I've got it looking kind of like a meme. I got as Italian as I could with it. Just, you know. It says Ferrari on the side. It's the Ferrari edition, you guys. It's Ferrari week. We're all good. I can build whatever I want. You guys want to build this, I promise. It's a lot of fun to drive. I like this car. It's really good. That's why I'm bringing it to you now. So, with no further ado, let's dig in. Let me give you the build. Try it out. It slays. You guys are going to love it. So, for the engine you're running in this one, you are running the 4.8 liter V8. I tried multiple different engines and builds in this one. There's a lot of really good ones. This one has the highest horsepower by a pretty large margin. Like, it's got about 70 more than the next closest thing I could get. And that really carries it up to 200 mile an hour in a hurry. It does really good on the top end. I like this car for that reason. It's got a good top end. So you're going to put the 4.8 liter V8 in it. It is the Sport Bronze motor. For the parts, you are running Elite all of it in this build. So you're going to be running the Elite Induction Platinum part. You're going to be running the Elite ECU Platinum. You're going to be running the Elite Fuel System Platinum. The Elite Exhaust Platinum. And you're going to be running the Elite Turbocharger Single Turbo Platinum. I ran it with the Super. The turbo's better. It's just better. In the higher gears, the turbo just feels better. It's there for you. It's going to carry that top speed. It makes the top 2 gears really punchy. 5th and 6th are pretty strong. This car pulls. I like it. And it launches really good because the all-wheel drive. And the way it turns, there's no other car in the game that handles like this car does. You'll get into a turn, it'll kind of slide, and then it just hooks and pulls out. So I found myself turning sharper than I wanted to. Kind of like it would almost oversteer, but it doesn't. It just rotates and then hooks. And so it might take a little getting used to, but once you learn to drive this car, I think it'll really surprise you. Just running Sport Bronze Nitrous. We are running Elite suspension, not the road suspension, just the regular suspension. That way I could do all Elite parts with the turbo. If I did the road suspension, there was no way for me to keep it in the class at 100% grip. So, just Elite regular suspension. Don't worry about the brakes. You're doing Pro Silver brakes. You are doing Elite grip tires, for sure. You are doing just Sport Bronze clutch. You are running the 6-speed Silver Pro transmission. I tried it with the 7-speed. You have to take too much horsepower out, so 212 it becomes unreasonable because it doesn't have enough horsepower to carry you there to knock all the points off to get it into the class with that. I tried it with the 5-speed. I felt like the gears were too long. The 6-speed is like that sweet spot where it hits right where it needs to be. So run it with the 6-speed. You are going to be wanting to run the Elite differential. There's no deviation from that. You have to run the Elite Platinum differential. Run Nitrous Grip, Nitrous Drift. Run them both. You're going to be sliding both. You'll be doing grip turns. You'll be doing drift turns. do both, because this car at 100% grip build just hooks in the corners, and you can just I love this car. That's why it's here on Ferrari Day 2 Ferrari edition. Look, it's beautiful. For the handling, you're going to run at 100% grip all the way over to the left on your slider, that way on camera. Steering sensitivity, I'm 2 clicks up. I wouldn't go super high on the sensitivity on this car. It's a little twitchy, but it's very, very manageable. Once you know how this car handles, like you practice with it, it's great, you guys. I really like the way this car drives. Downforce, I run it all the way low. I think it helps. I think it helps get to that top speed a little faster. You're going to be pretty much pointing and shooting anyway with this car. It's either going to be a tight grip turn or it's going to be a drift. And so all of that being said, keep the downforce low. You might run it all the way high, see what you think, but I prefer it all the way low. So you do you guys. Traction control off, drift entry is off. When I want to start a drift, I'm tapping handbrake. All the rest of the times, I am using regular brake and just controlling the car. So go with you on that one. Outside of that, that is going to give you the Subaru Impreza WRX STI 2006. This is the Hawkeye, as they call it. 197 miles per hour. It'll do 200. It'll do 198, 199 bounce off the rev limiter. If you just come off that throttle just a skosh, it'll do 200 no problem. So puts it right where I want it. 857 on the horsepower. 620 on the torque. Don't be deceived. Don't put the centrifugal in this car, you guys. I tried it. It is junk. I built a couple of different of these, so that's why it's not purchased on this model, but I was like, oh, it's got a little more horsepower, a little more torque. I don't know where the power comes from with the centrifugal, but it doesn't ever hit the car. It must be like in reserve somewhere else in the game that you can't ever touch. It's trash. So just run at this build. If you wanted to do the supercharger, you could. You just have to do a couple of tweaks on the handling side of things. It's not a big deal. But I really thought the turbo was like the nuts for this car. Other than that, I've got gameplay footage of me driving this thing. I really like it. Try it out. I think this is my second favorite S-Class car. First being the Skyline. Skyline just hooks. It's so fast. It is so fast. This is like really good second though. Thank you guys for hanging out. If you made it this far in the video, please like, subscribe, follow, click a couple of buttons, interact with the video. Be like, that's the greatest Ferrari Subaru I've ever seen. Let's throw off the algorithm, and anybody who's not seen the video, it'll be amazing. I'm sorry if I led any of you guys astray with the secret car and I created hype for something, but I literally built a bunch of Ferraris, and this is better than all of them. I can't get excited about them. We've got all the good Ferraris already out. I've already got build videos, you guys, so like they're there. But this is something that I stumbled upon that is different than what everybody else has got, and it's really good, so that's why I bring it to you. I got gameplay footage after this. Thank you for staying tuned for the gameplay footage. This car got the paint job before I changed it to the super secret Italian Ferrari livery. You'll see we launched the car in 4th gear. I would say the closest car in the S-Class that can launch as hard as this is the F40. It's probably the only car with a better launch, I think. And so my buddy Crawford, he comes around me right here in that F40. He's got a very good build. One that I probably will release a little later. It's got a very good top speed, but at the end of the day, I think the F40 really belongs in A+. I think it kind of struggles in S. Just doesn't turn as good. He takes himself out on that Texicab, so now it's pretty much just us. After his recovery, he's just briefly in 3rd place, but you'll see that him and that one guy are in 2nd and 3rd place, and then we pretty much leave them. They're off the mini-map. You'll see this car does about 198, bouncing off the rev limiter with redline tech. That'll turn into 200, but we're just going full speed, running this thing down. I love the way this car handles. It turns in really well. With the all-wheel drive, you just kind of point, stay on the gas, and then let the all-wheel drive system pull you into the corner and pull you through the corner. A lot of the other cars kind of drift and lose a little speed, but this one, it kind of like you point and shoot and then just let it ride, and it's very, very predictable for that reason. I really like the way this car drives. That's why I bring it to you with so much enthusiasm. Once again, there's that 198, 200 right there. So you will see 200 miles per hour in this vehicle. That's why I've got that on there. It was a bit of a to-do to get a build where this car would actually hit 200 and be realistically there. Because if it doesn't, you get walked on by the McLaren and a few other things. I'm not sure what happened with traffic right there. That's why I look back. It seems like they were having a bit of a traffic jam of their own, which is really odd for NPCs. But, you know, they're going to live their lives. We're going to live ours. We're going to just cruise right on. Pretty uneventful for the most part. You'll see that I'm turning with handbrake right here. And just doing a very shallow drift and then gripping back out of it, using boost to accelerate. I do the same thing down here. I just get a little bit of handbrake to point the car and then just do a little drift right there and then pull out of it. Just keeping these little micro turns, a little bit of handbrake to point the car, and then just using the acceleration and the power of the vehicle to get me out. I love it. The car is very predictable. I think you guys are really going to like it. I would really encourage you to give this car a build. If you don't have it unlocked yet, I think it's time to go unlock it, you guys. It's worth doing. There's another 200 mile an hour run. Overall, we slayed everybody in that lobby, so there's no question about its ability to perform. It's just a matter of learning how the car handles and making the most of it. This will be the final clip I'll show you guys. There's a lot of different lines on this track. I want to kind of walk you through how the car handles on those, but overall, the race is pretty uneventful just because it's myself, my buddy Crawford, and that guy in the port charger. He must be trying to get his unlocks, which is good on him for wanting to unlock that other cool body kit for the charger, but that car is good for nothing except for maybe a car show. Running in oncoming for a while there, trying to get as much boost as possible. You'll see when you grip turn, like you hit the yellow boost and you're turning, this car really hooks pretty hard, so be aware of that, you guys. It's going to get a little twitchy. Now watch the line I can pull off right here. Hard drift. We are well to the right of that tree, and we are just pointing and shooting. That's incredible. Not very many cars can do what this thing just did. Now, it wants to go off in the woods. It wants to go back to its people, so we have to rein it back in. It is a little light without the downforce, but that's okay. For this corner, we go wide, we drift in, stay on the concrete, perfect. Keeping that power up, just staying in the power of the car, staying in the correct gear, fourth, fifth gear, whatever it might be. There, we should have been down in fourth, but for the most part, this car's pretty reasonable. It's got enough horsepower that it'll kind of pull you through the wrong gear if you're in it. Now, like I've said before, you want to use all of your nitrous, you want to use all of your yellow boost at the bottom of this hill and hit the gas station. Like that, boom. That way you can continue on your nitrous train and just get yourself up to speed. So there we are, top speed in the car, 198. We're flying back there. This line you want to point between the trees, like that. If you need to slow that down or back that up, you guys, try to figure out your line, because that's the optimal way. Now here, I do not brake. I just start to turn to see what the car's going to do, and it just hooks. Kind of drifts and gets me in there. So I had to correct so I didn't kill myself on the pillar. But that'll give you an idea of how this car will handle. Like, you start to turn, and it's going to turn for you. So just be aware. Other than that, we've well walked away from our buddy Crawford in the F40. The guy in the Charger, he's still at the starting line spinning his tires because that's what all that car does. And there we are, 198 again, almost 200. This thing uses its whole transmission. It's really fast. Thank you guys so much for watching the gameplay footage and hanging out. I appreciate y'all. Have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.